From the Evening Standard in London, I'm David Marsland, and this is The Leader. The Sarah Everard Vigil at Clapham Common began so peacefully, even the Duchess of Cambridge went along to pay respect. So how did it end like this? Officers clashing with crowds, arrests. Even the Prime Minister says he was deeply concerned about videos showing police grabbing women and leading them away in handcuffs. There have been calls from Met Commissioner Cressida Dick to resign, but she's also been given some support. Home Secretary Priti Patel's demanded a full report into policing on the night. The Evening Standard's crime correspondent Anthony France has been looking into the decisions that were made at Clapham Common. Anthony, what happened?
So originally the planned vigil, the courts decided that they couldn't go ahead. But, throughout the day on Saturday, hundreds of people turned up to calmly and peacefully lay flowers.
We were all traumatised as women and terribly sad for her parents, her family. And I think essentially all women feel that could be me.
I followed the news from when she went missing. It was just so upsetting because you could feel it, it could be any of us, any one of us. And maybe I find it harder because I'm a mum to a 13-month-old girl, and you fear it, but you actually don't think it really happens very often. It really hardly ever happens. And so the fact that it did and did during lockdown, it's just terrifying.
The police very much at that time chatting to those people who were coming. And as we saw, the Duchess of Cambridge even came and she laid some flowers as well. As night fell, people got up onto the bandstand at Clapham Common and started making speeches. And I think at that point, the police tactic changed because it had gone from a vigil to now a protest. Initially, police had come onto the bandstand and told people that they had to go. People were adamant that they were very angry about everything that had happened, and they decided that they wanted to stay and they wanted to make their point.
So Jamie Kleinman, who's one of the women behind Reclaim These Streets, which organised the original peaceful vigil, says that they warned police after they were forced to cancel it that this was going to happen.
We had a PA system. We had one steward for every 30 people that was going to attend. We had all of those things in place so that there would not have been any crowding, so that there would not have been any issues. And the night before this all happened, on Friday night, while we met with the police, we said, if we cancel and we do all the press, if we say it's not happening, you guys are aware that that won't necessarily stop people from coming anyway. We can't control everyone that is going to be angry at this court decision, angry that the police are silencing us. So it's anybody could have seen this coming down the pike. This didn't take a truth, like a future teller, to see this was going to happen.
But Anthony, could Scotland Yard have handled it any differently?
Well, I mean, they could have if the laws weren't there. I mean, the police are there to uphold the law, and these are laws that were brought in during the pandemic specifically to stop protests like this taking place. Now, the police's argument is, well, if we let this one go, what would the people who were fined last year, during the Black Lives Matters protests and also during the counter protests, what would they say? I think they see themselves as being as a sort of position of damned if they do, damned if they don't. And obviously there are people who think, well, this was such a momentous event, this murder, which shocked the nation, that they should have let the vigil go ahead.
And that's what Labour's Jess Phillips has been arguing. She was speaking to the Andrew Marsh show on the BBC yesterday about that very thing.
The police did not try and find a way for a peaceful protest, not a protest actually, a vigil, a moment. They did not try and find a way to work with women who are sad and angry and upset to be able to not even gather, but just go to Clapham Common. There are a million ways that could have been organised, but the police put their foot down before they put their boot in, and at every stage they made the wrong call.
And this is why there's so much pressure on the Met Commissioner Cressida Dick right now. Lots of people calling for her resignation, like the Lib-Dem's Davey.
I think the Met Police should have responded in a far more proportionate way. The last thing these grieving women should have been met with was the sorts of visible manhandling by male public order police officers.
Okay.
And I'm genuinely shocked by what I saw. I think many people are.
He was talking to LBC's Nick Ferrari there. Can Cressida Dick hold on to her job now?
Well, at the moment, she has the backing of both Boris Johnson and Priti Patel, who have told her that she has their full confidence.
Well, I was very concerned about the images that I saw, and so yesterday morning I talked to Cressida Dick, the Commissioner of the Metropolis, and we agreed that we'd look at it, and the Home Secretary has now commissioned Tom Windsor, the HMIC, the Inspector of Constabulary, to look at exactly what happened in that vigil, because I think a lot of people were concerned about that. But the reality is that the country is united, is still in shock and grief about what happened to Sarah Everard, and we must do everything we can to find the answers.
So she is staying in position because she says that she is the best placed, actually, to lead the organisation.
What happened to Sarah appalls me. As you know, I'm the first woman commissioner of the Met. Perhaps it appalls me in a way even more because of that. What has happened makes me more determined, not less, to lead my organisation.
Yes, there are calls for her to go, but even today, a poll of Britons, a YouGov poll, is saying that the majority of Britons back her. They want her to stay in her role, and also saying that they feel that no protest should take place during the pandemic.
So it appears that Cressida Dick is going to hold on to her position, at least for now. She's joining the Prime Minister for this Crime and Justice Task Force, which is looking at how to deal with violence against women. But how does the Commissioner guide the Met itself through this? Because there has been some erosion of public trust here.
Well, I think there is real anger about crimes about women, that they're not prosecuted. I think we've done some research today that shows that only 1 in 20 of the rapes that have been reported to the Met have actually resulted in someone even being charged, let alone being convicted. And I think the crime summit that she's going to be holding with Boris Johnson and other leaders, police leaders and Justice Department leaders today, is really going to get to the heart of this. Is like, why are these crimes not being prosecuted? Why is it that women feel that their claims and their reports are not being treated seriously?
So where does the country go next, Anthony, now that this issue is finally being talked about?
So Boris Johnson has decided that we really need to get to the heart of crimes against women. We know that 9 out of 10 of all rape victims are women, same with sexual offences as well. Why is there such a low prosecution success result for these sorts of crimes? I think, what can the whole justice system, the Crown Prosecution Service, the police nationally, not just in London, what can they do to link up all these organisations, and get real justice for women?
And that's The Leader. You can read Anthony's detailed timeline of how events unfolded at the vigil on Saturday in the Evening Standard newspaper or online at standard.co.uk. This podcast is back tomorrow at 4 p.m.